Hello friends, I hope everybody's doing good. Okay, so in part two, I ended up ordering the wrong carburetor for this. Everything was right except for the choke linkage. So what I did was I successfully took off the choke linkage off the old carburetor, and I was able to put it on this carburetor here. And in that video I showed you the gasket and the choke thermostat formation to put it back together, and I successfully was able to put the carburetor back on. The only problem it had was when we first started it up on the cold start, it was sputtering, and it was just as I thought. It was because the choke was still on, but as soon as the choke came off, it ran smooth. So if anybody wants to check out part two of the series, I'll pin a link in the comments down below if you want to check it out. Alright, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to do the cold start on it, and the main thing is I'm just expecting it to start up on the first pull, and you know, that sputtering, that's, you know, just the way it's going to be until the engine warms up and the choke comes off. So let's see if we can get a first start out of it. These Honda engines do not have an oil drain plug on it. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to change the oil on it. I'm going to service the height adjusters. I'll show you how I do that. And, you know, you heard in part two and part one and other videos that I always complain that the big wheel mowers, the levers don't stick up far enough, so you want them working good so you could easily adjust the height on them. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the belt guard and make sure that the self-propelled belt is fine, and we'll probably most likely have to blow some debris out of there on it. And this machine has to get done. I think today's August 8th. Yeah, I'm pretty sure today's August 8th. And we're starting to run out of summer, and because of my eyes, everything's just taking a lot longer than it should. This should have been done and out and sold and already. But let's see how it does on the first start, and then I'll let it warm up till it smooths out. I always mention that when you change the oil on the machine, you should always warm the engine up. Sometimes you'll have a machine that you pick up that has a real bad carburetor flooding issue, and what happens is gas gets into the crankcase. So you don't want to do the warm up on it. What you want to do is just get the old oil out right away and fix whatever issue that the machine is having with the carburetor. Fix that issue, change the oil on it, and you know, you could go from there. Alright, so let's see if this starts right up here. You make sure it's got enough gas in it. I turned the gas on. Yeah, it has more than enough gas in it. It's a nice cold engine. It didn't start on the first pull, but let's see what happens from here. It's not starting on the second pull either. Nothing on the third pull. Okay, so that's how long it took for the choke to come off, and now it runs pretty smooth. I'm not happy that it started up on the fourth call. When we first put this together on part 2, it started right up on the first call. So I'm not too happy about that right now either. So I'll let it warm up, and I'll be back to you in a couple of minutes, couple of seconds rather, and we'll change the oil on it. Okay, so on these Honda engines, after you drain the oil out and you're putting the oil in, it's very important with these Hondas that you don't screw the cap all the way down. What you want to do is just put the cap on there and then get your reading. If you screw the cap all the way down, then you're not getting the right reading on it. And yeah, I just want to let you know that right now. Alright, so the problem I was having, I bought this Pennzoil pump. It was like $11. I bought it at the Home Depot. It's probably more money now, I'm sure. It could, you know, like everything else went up in price. Which works pretty good for what I use it for. I mean, if an engine has a drain plug in it, I just drain the oil with the drain plug. It's simple. Easier to do it that way, but since we don't have a drain plug on this Honda here, I have to suck the oil out. Okay, so I was having another problem. When you have the cap off, this is what I use for waste oil jug, and then I have a big oil tank that I just poured this into after it gets full. I got tired of the hose kept popping out of here. It was making a mess all over, and it was making a mess of me and everything like that. So it took me 5 minutes. What I did was I just drilled a hole in the cap here, but I drilled the hole smaller than the hose is. Okay, so it's a good tight fit in there. And what you want to do is just drill another small hole for ventilation for when you're pumping the oil into this. And also what I had to do was, since we were making a smaller hole into the cap, all I did was I just cut this hose on an angle here so you can get it into the jug a lot easier. Because if you don't put a diagonal cut on the hose here, you're never going to get it into the smaller hole in here. So it fits nice and tight in here, and then we'll take the other end and we'll stick it inside the crankcase here. And just push it all the way to the bottom of the crankcase. Now, after I pump as much oil out as I can, I usually just put the mower on a tilt. I put a couple of 2x4s or blocks under there, so it's on a tilt like this, so the oil runs down, and then you can pump some more oil out that way. Okay, so let's just get that over with now. Before I did this modification, I was dreading using this pump, but now that we did the modification to it, it's in one of my videos. And it only took, like I said, about 5 minutes to do, you know. So what I'll do is I'll tilt the engine, like I showed you. I'll just stick some blocks under here, and we'll just tilt it up. Like that. You don't want to tilt the engine up until you suck some oil out, because you'll make a mess. Ask me how I know that. You end up getting most of the oil out without tilting it up anyway. So get as much oil out as you can. I usually start off with about a quarter of a quart. I'll put in this. I know it takes sometimes less than a half a quart. You don't want to overfill it. If you overfill it, then you have to pump some out. So, and that's it. It's as simple as that. And all right. So I'm not gonna bore you with putting the oil in it. I just fill it up with oil. I think the next thing we'll do is I'll take that belt cover off and see the condition of the belt. These are all the things you want to do for resale of a mower or your own personal mower too. You want to, do everything that I'm doing here. So I'll be back to you in a couple of seconds. Okay, so this ended up taking a little under a quart of oil. All right, so you want to put your machine on level grind when you're checking the oil. That's very important too. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we'll take this belt cover off. I just kicked the camera, the tripod a little, but you're still there. All right. Okay, so this one fortunately only has one bolt holding the cover on. And for that you'll be using an 8mm socket. In this case I'm using a 5/16 socket. So you're just going to want to take the one bolt out here. It's a shame this doesn't start up on the first pull. What I'm going to do is after I'm done with this video, I'll just start it up tomorrow morning off camera and see how it does. I mean, we didn't have it running that long after we put the carburetor on it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The choke seems to be working fine from what I could tell. So it wasn't starving for fuel, nor was it flooding. So I don't know. So you just want to lift this off. So see in here, you do have some grass. So I have a compressor. So I'm just going to take and I'm just going to blow this all out, make sure it's clean. And the belt seems to be pretty good. It's not bad at all. So we don't have to worry about the belt here. It's dirty from grass and stuff like that. So just give it a quick clean out here. So let me get the hose and we'll give that a quick blow out. Now we can put the cover back on. I shut the compressor off so it doesn't kick on while we're doing that. I always forget to show you this part when I'm doing a mower. But you want to make sure your drive belt's good and you want to make sure it's fairly clean under. Off camera, I'm going to prepare to work on one of our gravelies here that is not running right, because in access to get to my grinder to sharpen the blade, I'm gonna have to pull a couple of gravelies out the back here. So see, I just found some grass stuck under the cover here too, so you're gonna want to blow that all out nice too. Well, I'm just going to wipe it out because it's not that bad. There's one hunk of grass in there that had some buildup around the mounting bolt here. So that's clean. So you go ahead and put your cover back on here. Sometimes it has a couple of prongs that have to go in. This don't have any prongs at all. It just lays on here. And then get your bolt back in. Make sure you snug up this bolt real good because it only has one bolt holding it on. You don't want to over tighten it though. You don't want to strip it or anything like that. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is I'll turn the machine around and we'll pull the back wheels off and we'll service the height adjusters. Don't go too crazy, just snug it up real good. And that's it. I'll be back to you in about 2 seconds or so. Okay, so in this case here, I'm using a 9/16 socket to pull the wheel off. I think that's equivalent to like a 14 millimeter, I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. So you just want to remove the nut or the bolt or whatever's holding this on. And sometimes you have to make sure, sometimes there's a washer behind here. Make sure you don't lose the washer. Put it back together just the way you took it apart. It's so ridiculous. Like if you could see my finger here, this is where the height adjuster lever is. You know, they could have put it on an angle up here maybe or something. I don't know. Something better than this. But overall, a Husqvarna Mower is a very good mower. Alright, so this one happens to have a nut that holds it on. I'm not feeling any washers back here. And there is a washer back here. It's a big washer too. So you might want to make sure you don't lose the washer. And then the first thing I do is I just take the air hose here. Just blow everything out of here, back here. And then you want to make sure you lube up the axle a little bit if you have a little grease. I normally just spray it with some WD, but that's your preference. However you want to service it, the axle, you can. See, this one moves a little hard, so you want to try to get it to where it moves really easy. Now you can take some brake clean, just to clean it up a bit. You just spray it in there. Get all the debris out. This gunk brake clean that I bought from Home Depot smells really good, but I don't know how good it works. But whatever. It's starting to rain. It's drizzling a little bit here and there today. It's working better already right now just by spraying the brake clean in there. I don't know if that's a lubricant type of brake clean, I don't know, but we're going to take some WD-40 and we're not going to we're not going to use it sparingly. We'll just soak it really nice. See how nice that works now? Okay, so all the way up, I think I'm just going to go down like 3. 2, 3. I'll put it on the third notch. I'll put it. However anybody else wants to adjust it, that's up to them. That's the first notch. That's all the way down. I'll go to the second. I'll go to the third. Maybe I'll go to the 4th. Right there. That'll be cool. And then just reverse procedure. Don't forget about your big washer. Stick your big washer back on. Hit this with a little lubrication here. use white lithium grease or front end grip, whatever you got is good. This has like a bearing. This is actually like a bearing, so you might want to spray some spray in there too. That's the part that you want to really roll good. So let's do that. Stick your nut back on. See how nice that rolls? These are really good machines. I like these machines. If I had it used to keep one, I'd keep one. I sold quite a few of these over the years. And you're done. It's as simple as that. Alright, so like I said, I'm just going to keep an eye on how this thing starts. First pull, second pull, third pull. I'll try it again tomorrow morning. So if anything exciting happens to where I have to take the car back, or I don't know, I'll come back to you and I'll let you know. If all is well, I won't let you know. So if you want, like I said, I'll pin part 2, the link to part 2, I'll pin it in the comment if you want to check out part 2 to where we changed over the choke linkage. And I hope this helps somebody out for when you're going to sell. And the important thing is make sure your machine's very clean. Make sure it starts up first or second pull. Change the oil, service the height adjusters, check the self-propelled belt if it has one. Make sure all the cables are working properly. And I guess I'll see you all on the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.